All right, well, here we are. And over the last couple of days, doing line variation, it occurred to me that if you don't have a lot of experience drawing, there are some things that I kind of took for granted that I want to kind of make sure we stop at and talk about. And I think it'll be beneficial. It'll be beneficial if you do know these things or if you don't, to either kind of be reminded or take another look at them or to find out about them for the first time. So I had you get a pencil for today. And if you have a range of pencils, meaning soft to hard or dark to light, to bring those with. And I also said if you don't have that or you don't know what I'm talking about, no big deal. Um, and that's true for today. But we are going to do some work with uh, pencil control. So some ability to the skill to vary the pressure you put on the pencil in a very controlled, sensitive manner. And I want to do this because, in my opinion, this is probably the area that I see lacking the most in graphite drawings. Uh, I think if you're going to draw and make drawings with pencils, and honestly, this even works its way into some pens, like a ballpoint pen, you can use light and dark heavy strokes. Doesn't work so much on a fine point marker. You kind of get you have to kind of thicken the line or go over it or use hash marks or something to change the darkness or lightness of a marker. But with pencil and to some degree a ballpoint pen, which I know a lot of artists use when they sketch, also, you can have a light and dark control over your line and your stroke. And so I want to spend a little time doing some exercises today to have to do with this. Uh, when I see a graphite drawing, this is one of the first things I noticed, and I think it's I see it a lot, to be honest. And I see a lot of pencil drawings that I think lack a good variation in intensity and strength within their drawings. I see a lot of drawings that have kind of the same um, weight or darkness of pencil across the whole thing. And it's just one of the really fun, actually really easy ways to make your drawing like pop, to make it um, really exciting and beautiful and stand out and create depth, is to vary the intensity of. It's kind of what we've been doing with line variation, but I just realized that without some explanation and how to do that and what to practice to be able to do that well, it's a little unfair of me to just show you what I'm doing and not give you some exercises to do that. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. And when you develop the ability to use a very light pencil stroke, very light to very dark, without, this is really important, without destroying the paper, either by uh, just denting it super hard with a pencil or burnishing it. Burnishing is like where you wear all the the surface of the paper, the tooth they call it. Paper has teeth, right? It's how bumpy. If you zoomed in on a microscope on the paper, it has a little rough surface of it, like my fingertips here. If you zoomed way in, and really smooth like computer paper, which is fine for drawing. I know some artists that's what they use. Is a lot smoother, and like traditional like rough drawing paper has like, if you zoomed in on it, it's like, I don't know if I can do it that well with my fingers, but it's like rough on the surface of the if you zoomed in on it with a microscope. But when you burnish it, you rub the pencil so hard that you basically make it smooth and shiny. Have any of you ever drawn dark with a pencil on paper and it gets like almost shiny and super smooth? Um, it can be an interesting effect, but for the most part, it doesn't help a drawing. It's distracting. If you have a big black or dark area of your drawing and you just color with a pencil so much that it just turns shiny dark gray, that isn't really helping your drawing. And likewise, I see a lot of drawings that have all the same intensity pencil line drawings, and it just ends up looking like gray, like the whole thing just kind of looks um, the same, the exact same. And what I think you can do you can learn to use and have at your disposal is the ability to do extremely light lines that you almost actually disappear. Like the line can actually like go away, and the person's mind almost still sees it even though it's not there. All the way, so super light, all the way to almost jet black, uh, but without that shiny push too hard look. Well, you can do this in a drawing, just like that paper bag that we just drew yesterday. You can create this kind of beautiful range. And so that's what we're going to work on today. I'm going to pull out your pencil and we're going to do some little exercises. And it's not tough, it won't take too long, but you can create beautiful things. In fact, I'm going to throw up a drawing I did of my daughter's fiance, was her boyfriend at the time, now fiance, his dog that she had me draw for gift for him, and I drew his dog, and it's right here. And I just want to point out in this drawing, I'm not trying to like, ooh, look what I did. I'm more trying to point out, look at the big range in darkness of pencil that you can get in a drawing. And this is almost entirely done not by using different pencils so much, but more by just having good control over how you use that pencil. So I'm going to switch the views here, and we are going to jump in and do some exercises that help us develop good pencil control. All right, here we are with a blank sheet of paper, the scary blank page that we're about to change that fact. And I have in my pencil right now HB lead, which, as I said before, is pretty much right in the middle. It actually goes graphite, which is what is in pencils. It's not lead, it's graphite. They call it lead because they used to use lead. I think I've mentioned that before. But this is graphite, and it ranges. The way that they designate the hardness is by a number system, and it it has two halves. Actually, I'll throw that up on the screen here, and kind of show you how pencils work. But they range from like 9H to 9B, and though that range, H's are hard, which is pretty easy to understand, and B is soft, which isn't as easy to understand. Um, and it ranges, the higher the nine, or the higher the number of H, the harder it is. And it goes lower into the middle where you have HB, which is kind of right in the middle. And then it goes back up to 9B, which is as soft as you can get. Soft for graphite means dark. Hard means light. When it's real soft, all the graphite comes off on the paper and very easily, and puts a lot of graphite on the paper, so it makes it dark. When it's hard, it doesn't come uh, off on the paper very easy, and so it stays very light. And so that's kind of how graphite works. But I have an HB, which is right in the middle of both. And it's a great thing to do these exercises with. If you just have a standard pencil you're drawing with, that's probably a 2B, most commonly a 2B, which is two up from this. There's HB, then there's a B, and then there's 2B. So that is, this is directly in the middle, and a normal pencil is a little darker and softer than this. But We're going to jump into this and I'm going to show you what I want you to work on. And I'm going to turn this a little sideways because I actually have a little easier time than going straight across doing an exercise like this. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to do a line across the page that goes from dark to light to dark to light to dark to light until you go all the way across the page. Start over here somewhere, and I want you to push down fairly hard, and I want you to get to there's like no darkness to like dark, dark, dark to no lightness to more to dark, 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 dark. And then the goal would be that it's a gradual change between them. I don't know how well you can see that, but I started dark here and I faded out to light, and I did it several times. That's like I said, this is HB, so it's not gonna happen as easily as I'm gonna get as dark as a four. See, this is not always easy for me to try not to pick your. I'm trying to vary that line weight to try to and do several lines like that. Work at it till you feel a little more comfortable. Um, Varying that, and your job would be that in the light areas you actually go to like you can't see the line for part of it, and then in the dark areas you're pushing about as hard as you can without damaging the paper. Um, so I'm going to do a little experiment and kind of show you. So that's an HB. In our grayscale kit and in our 72 deluxe drawing set at width, we have 4H to 4B. So we don't go above or below above four on either end. So I'm going to start with a 4H, which remember on that scale, this is going to be the hardest lead the hardest lead in our set. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to see if you can tell if it's any lighter. It's certainly more lighter than that HB. I'll do one more. Start dark, gradually get lighter, gradually get darker, gradually get lighter, gradually get darker. I kind of jump back into that. So that would be 4H. That's the lightest, hardest lead in our set. Now I'm going to go to the 2H. This is one notch harder than the last one. Actually, it's two because we don't have a three. We do even numbers. And you can see it's slightly darker than the H. Or the, yeah, 4H. It also matters how big of a tip you have on there. You might not be able to really tell in this. The difference is a little subtle. This, I did the HB at the top. Now we're going to 2B. We skipped over the HB because I already did it. Now we're at 2B. You should start to see some real significant. This might be what some of you are using because your standard pencil, and it's good because I like a 2B. I should be using a 2B all the time. Can you see the darkness of the 2B? And then lastly, we go up to a 4B in this set. I don't think any drawings require anything more than a 4H to a 4B in most situations. I probably just made a bunch of artists mad by saying that, but I think you can make up for what you don't have in pencils. You can make up for in careful sensitivity. Look at this is a 4B. This is the hardest one we have. And I can get that pencil line to basically go away. It's just a little harder to vary it. But I can go to basically nothing on that in the middle there with a 4B. All right. I want you to practice lines like that. Whether or not you have the different hardnesses of lead, you can use whatever pencil you have and you can practice lines like that. And you're basically just getting used to varying the sensitivity, control over that pencil as it slides across the paper. Now, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to do gradients. So for gradients, what you're going to do, I have to turn this sideways again, is you're going to do some hard coloring, and you're going to slowly fade it. This is a 4B. It's going to be real hard to get, like nothing. And you're going to do a gradient like that. I'd give that one about a B or C. I shouldn't go back and touch it at all. It's really against, it's not the point, is to look perfect. The point is to get used to doing these. I'm going to label this. This is a 4B. Remember I ended on that last time? I'm going to do another 4B here. See if I can get a little bit better. The idea is to, in one swipe, not going back and fixing or changing anything, do as even of a transition as possible down. Let's see what I can do with it's 4B. We're going to go to 2B. Go to 2B. I'm going to label it. I really like a 2B pencil. I'm glad most of our pencils are 2B. If your pencil doesn't say, it's probably a 2B. Might be an HB, but look at I'm not supposed to go back. Okay, that's 2B. Or not to be. Ha ha ha. Now we're going to go back to the old trusty HB, which is, by the way, what I've been doing every drawing up until now that I've been using pencil for. HB isn't bad either. It's honestly when you start getting below HB or above, whatever you want to say, for the gradient, for hardness, it starts getting harder than HB. It starts getting really hard to get any real punch out of it. I would go crazy if I had to use all light pencils. That's HB. It's probably looking pretty similar to you. I'm not sure how much the camera can pick up. And I bet you this is maybe not going as easily for you if you've never done this before. And I don't want you to get frustrated. I don't want you to be like, no, I can't do it, and get all mad and give up. This is something I had to do in art school a lot. Something I had to do a lot when I developed these leads for our company is I was working very hard to get a good range and good graphite that had a lot of good qualities and control and use on the paper. And so I've done a lot of this, and I'm probably making it look a little easy, I'm guessing. Don't get frustrated. I only got this way. I was not born able to do this like this, and I'm not even saying these are that good, but whatever quality I have in these gradients is because I had to do it a lot. Look at that 4H. I can't barely try to drag that out a little bit, a little longer. It's so hard with 4-H because I'm like almost punching through this paper right now, scratching through it because it's so hard. You don't have to hardly sharpen. Oh my goodness. I got into some moisture. That's not my fault. I think I spit on the paper and hit it, or I dripped some of my tea on there. You can see where that line, it really dissolved the graphite, made it dark. All right. This is all I want you to do today. Work on these. Work on line variation and gradients because you will develop pressure control on your pencil, which can give you that punch, like vivid, beautiful drawings. Look at the drawings that like Van Gogh or Picasso or some of these other different Vermeer, different artists of the past that have sketches before their paintings. They're always so beautifully like um, the weight and the strokes of their lines. They're just sketches, right? For studies, for future paintings or whatever. And they have such beautiful like simplicity to them because they could just control their pencil so well. And then also just at good drawers, they do a great job with these things. So this is all I want you to work on today. And I just want you to practice this. You can fill up several pages of this or just one or whatever you want. The more you do, the better. I think this will help you no matter what. So work on this stuff and learn to control that pencil on the paper better. So glad you joined me. We will see you tomorrow.